Welcome back to the channel. This is Tiffany, and I want to show you how I prepare my mealworm farms for the summer. I only feed the mealworms to my hens in the winter when they don't have access to native insects and worms. So in the summer, I let my mealworm farms just reproduce and get more and more population so that we have lots for the winter. So this is what I have set up. I just made this out of a couple of totes. They're actually the same brand of tote. One is shallower than the other. So this tote fits right in the top here. And then what I did was I just measured about an inch below that tote, and I went all the way around and I drilled some holes for airflow. In this top tote, I cut the bottom out, built a frame, put screen in the bottom. The idea of this farm is for you to be able to put your mealworms in the top. They're going to run through their stages, turn into beetles, and then the eggs would fall through the screen, and then you would only have mealworms in the bottom. It does work great. It works awesome. However, I don't rotate my mealworms that much because I only feed them in the winter. It's still awesome. I will put today's mealworm starter kit is what I call it. So my mealworms from my last kits in the top right here. But I will have beetles in the bottom come fall because the larvae in the bottom, the eggs will have hatched, turned into larvae, pupa, and then hatched into beetles. So I will have adult beetles in the bottom. So then what I do is I just feed the whole tote over the course of a month. So I have 6 of these, and I figure I have about 6 months worth of winter where I need to be supplementing my girls. All right, let me show you what I did. So far all I've done is I took all of the old bedding out and I've put in new bedding. I'm using oatmeal. I actually got this oatmeal from the local food bank. It was beyond expired. They could not use it. So I was able to get it for my mealworm farm. I do want to point out that it is quick oats. Okay, we definitely want to do like minute oats or quick oats. You don't want to use these old-fashioned oats. You can if that's all you have, these old-fashioned oats or the steel cut oats, because they're too rough on the insects. They have sharp edges. So your mealworms will not be near as healthy if you use the old-fashioned oats. So it is quick oats. So that's all I've put in the bottom. One of the great things about mealworms, they get all of their moisture from their food. So I feed them like maybe once a month. I just throw some carrots in there. That's what we're going to throw in here today. If I have an apple that's maybe starting to go bad, anything like that, they like potatoes. I'm just going to throw some carrots in there. And then they also like to have some place to hide. So I'm going to put this in there. They love these egg cartons. And then this will give them what they need for weeks at a time. Mealworms really need to be at 80 degrees or warmer. So my project porch is obviously too cold in the winter. So these actually go on a shelf in the bathroom because they will reproduce better at 80 degrees or warmer and in high humidity. So keep that in mind as you are putting together your mealworm farms. There's not really an odor to them. They're secured. I've never had them get out of the totes. They are definitely secured inside the totes. And they're just an easy way to get that extra native protein or natural protein that you need for your hens. Okay, so I have the farm all put back together, and this is my starter that I'm going to use here. So as you can see, I've got all different ages of mealworms in here. Nice and healthy. Now the thing about mealworms is it's not something quick. I mean, if you start the mealworm farm, that's great. You definitely should do that. But you are looking at, up to 20 days for the eggs to hatch. And then you have the mealworms. And mealworms will stay in this state for anywhere from 2 weeks to a few months, really, until it molts. And a lot of that's going to depend on, is it warm enough and is it humid enough? Then you have the pupa. Okay, and that's going to take about 3 months. So the pupa is when it has the cocoon and it's turning into the adult beetle. And then the female beetle will then lay the eggs. So we're talking at least 4 months before you have a really good cycle going. This is why I set them up in the spring. I let them just do their thing all summer. And then I normally feed my first batch in November. Last fall, it was October when I first fed them. But so normally November is when I start feeding my mealworms to my hens to give them just that extra native protein that they need. So this batch right here is going to actually start all 6 of my mealworm farms. I'm literally just going to take a quart-sized jar and I'm going to just scoop it out of here and put it in my mealworm farm. And that's all there is to it. So I've put these mealworms on the top of the screen where the beetles are supposed to be laying the eggs and the eggs fall through, right? Well, that's because these are going to eventually go through their metamorphosis and they will be turning into beetles over the summer. And so then we will have eggs in the bottom, which will then also continue their cycle. So if this is the last one that I feed, there will be beetles in the top and the bottom. But either way, it provides them with lots of airflow, gives them lots of room. There's lots and lots of mealworms in there of all different sizes. And I know that my hens will have the protein they need next winter when the world is sleeping under a blanket of snow. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.